What if I told you that the love you are chasing could be the very thing destroying your peace? What if the relationship that makes your heart race is the same one that will leave it shattered? And what if the love you've been ignoring, the love given to you by Allah, was the only love that would never betray you? My brothers and sisters, we live in a world that glorifies harem relationships. Movies, music, and social media all sell us the same idea. If you are not in a relationship, you are incomplete. They make harem look beautiful, while making halal look boring. They tell you that true love means late-night messages, secret meetings, and stolen moments. But let me ask you, if love has to hide in the dark, if it has to be stolen, if it distances you from Allah, is it really love? Or is it just a trap dressed up as romance? Islam does not deny love. Love is natural, love is powerful, love is a gift from Allah. But Islam teaches us that pure love is never built on sin. Pure love is built on respect, responsibility, and the blessing of Allah. Harem relationships may excite your heart for a while, but they poison your soul. They begin sweet but end bitter. They promise happiness but bring heartbreak. They seem easy but lead to regret. Pure love, on the other hand, is not rushed, not hidden, not built on lies. Pure love is honorable, pure love is transparent, pure love is protected by Allah through nikah. Think of the difference. Harem love is like drinking salt water. You keep drinking, thinking it will quench your thirst, but it only leaves you more thirsty, more desperate, more empty. Halal love is like pure spring water, refreshing, satisfying, clean, and blessed. Harem relationships drain your iman. Halal relationships strengthen it. Harem relationships end with guilt. Halal relationships begin with Allah's name and end with His mercy. Let me be real with you. Some of you might be in harem relationships right now. You tell yourself, but I love them. I can't let go. No one understands. I want you to know this. True love never pulls you away from Allah. True love will want to see you in Jannah, not just in this dunya. True love will protect your dignity, not play with it. True love will wait for you, honor you, and marry you, instead of using you in secret. If they truly love you, they will make it halal. If they don't, then what you are calling love is just attachment, lust, or fear of loneliness. Our Prophet Muhammad showed us what pure love looks like. Look at his love for Khadija, R.A. She was his partner, his comfort, his supporter. When the world turned against him, she believed in him. When he was hurt, she healed him. When he was frightened, she calmed him. Their love was pure because it was blessed by Allah. And long after her passing, he remembered her, honored her, and loved her. That is the power of love rooted in Allah. It doesn't fade, it doesn't destroy, it doesn't shame. It builds you, uplifts you, and carries you to Jannah. My beloved brothers and sisters, do not settle for cheap love that ends with regret. Seek pure love that ends with Jannah. If you feel trapped in harem, know that Allah is most forgiving. Repent sincerely, cut what is harem, and ask Allah to replace it with something better. And He will. The Prophet said, whoever leaves something for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better. So choose better. Choose honor over secrecy. Choose dignity over shame. Choose patience over weakness. Choose the love that will hold your hand on the day of judgment, not the one that will pull you towards sin. Remember this. Harem love may make you smile today but cry tomorrow. Pure love may require patience today, but it will make you smile forever. And when the world tells you harem is freedom, remember, the only love worth chasing is the one that leads you back to Allah. Because the sweetest I love you is not whispered in the dark. It is spoken under Allah's light, blessed with His name, and sealed with His mercy. That is pure love. That is real love. That is the love you deserve. Here are 6 powerful and relatable key takeaways for the topic harem relationships vs pure love in Islam. Love is not forbidden, but sin is. Islam allows love but guides us to express it through nikah, where it is blessed and protected. Harem love deceives. It may feel sweet at first but often ends in heartbreak, guilt, and regret, pulling us away from Allah. Pure love uplifts. True love is rooted in respect, patience, and Allah's blessing. It brings peace to the heart and dignity to the soul. Test of sincerity. If someone truly loves you, they will protect you and make the relationship halal, not use you in secret. Prophetic example. The love between the Prophet and Khadija, R.A., shows how pure love can be supportive, lasting, and full of barakah. Leaving harem opens doors. Whoever sacrifices harem for the sake of Allah, He promises to replace it with something far better and everlasting. Imagine a young man who feels his heart beating faster every time his phone lights up with a message. He calls it love, he thinks it's special, he believes no one else would understand. But if you pause and look deeper, what is happening? Two people are hiding, meeting in secret, whispering words they don't want their parents to hear, doing things they wouldn't want Allah to see. The emotions are real, no one denies that, but the way they are being expressed is drenched in sin. And here is the painful truth. Islam never forbids love, it only forbids sin. Allah created love, He placed it in our hearts, He made it one of the strongest forces in human life. If Allah created it, how can it be haram? It becomes haram when it is misused, when it is taken outside the boundaries He gave us for our protection. Think of it like fire. Fire can warm your home, cook your food, light up the darkness, but the same fire, if let loose, can burn down everything you love. Love is that fire. In nikah, it warms, it heals, it protects. In haram, it destroys, it scars, it leaves you in ashes. The problem is not the fire, the problem is how you handle it. When two people love each other within the boundaries of Islam, that love becomes ibadah, worship. Every smile becomes charity, every hug becomes reward, every sacrifice becomes a step closer to Jannah. But when two people ignore Allah and chase their desires, the same love becomes a sin that weighs on the soul. So many people confuse desire with love. They think late-night texts and secret calls prove love. They think holding hands in secret corners shows loyalty. But what is loyalty if you cannot even be loyal to Allah? What is love if it takes you further from the one who gave you a heart in the first place? Real love does not hide in shame. Real love is proud. Real love is announced. Real love is blessed with Allah's name through nikah. When a man goes to a woman's family, honors her by proposing, takes her hand in marriage, and says Bismillah, that love is lifted by angels, not dragged down by shaitan. You may say, but our feelings are strong. How can something that feels so right be wrong? Feelings alone cannot be your guide. Even poison can taste sweet at first, but the end is bitter. Allah is telling you, I know what you do not know. He created you. He knows what will bring your heart peace and what will destroy it. The Quran says, and among His signs is that He created for you from yourselves mates that you may find tranquility in them, and He placed between you affection and mercy. 30:21. Notice, tranquility, affection, mercy. That is real love. That is not found in stolen glances and guilty hearts. It is found in the purity of halal, where love is not just passion but responsibility, not just emotion but mercy, not just desire but dignity. Let's take an example. Two young people meet at university, they like each other, they feel an attraction. They have two choices. They can let shaitan whisper, keep it secret, allow themselves to fall into messages, calls, maybe worse. For a while it feels exciting. But then the guilt creeps in, the lies pile up, and eventually hearts break because haram never lasts. Or, they can choose the path of purity. They can involve their parents, set boundaries, wait with patience, and work towards nikah. Yes, it is harder. Yes, it requires sacrifice. But when they stand together one day under the blessing of Allah, that love will taste sweeter than any haram moment ever could. That sweetness comes because it was earned through patience and purity, not stolen through sin. Even the Prophet acknowledged natural feelings. Once a young companion came and asked permission to commit zina. Imagine the courage it took to admit such a desire. The Prophet did not shout at him. He asked him calmly, would you like it for your mother? Your sister? Your daughter? The young man replied no each time, realizing how selfish his desire was. Then the Prophet placed his blessed hand on his chest and made dua. O Allah, forgive his sins, purify his heart, and guard his chastity. That young man walked away changed. What does this teach us? Islam does not deny emotions. It disciplines them, directs them, purifies them, and turns them into something honorable. So never think Islam is against love. Islam is against the abuse of love. Allah gave you a gift, but He asked you to protect it until the right time. Love is not haram. It becomes haram when you misuse it. Pure love in marriage is so beautiful that even intimacy between a husband and wife is considered an act of worship. How merciful is Allah, that He takes something we desire and turns it into a way of gaining reward, as long as it is within halal. The choice is yours. You can waste your love in secrets that end in pain, or you can protect it and let it bloom in the light of Allah's blessing. And remember this always: true love is not found in disobeying the Creator. True love is found when both hearts bow to Him together. That is not forbidden love. That is the purest love. Over there is a reason why harem relationships are often described as sweet poison. At first glance, they appear beautiful, thrilling, full of life. A young man and woman begin exchanging messages. Maybe it starts with a harmless joke, then it turns into daily conversations, then late-night calls. Their hearts race when they see each other's name on the screen. They smile for no reason, and they begin to believe they've discovered true love. But beneath the surface, something is happening. The more they invest in the secret, the more uneasy their hearts feel. They start to hide their phones, lie to their parents, rush to delete messages. The sweetness is there, yes, but so is the guilt. It is like someone drinking from a sparkling glass of water, only to realize later it was mixed with poison. The first sips taste good, but soon the body begins to weaken. Haram love always carries that hidden poison. The Quran warns us that Shaitan beautifies sin. He makes what is harmful look attractive. He whispers, just one conversation, just one meeting, just one touch, just one time. And before you know it, one turns into many, and the trap is closed. What is striking is that the very same emotions that once felt exhilarating start turning into chains. That girl who once smiled at the message now feels anxious every time her phone buzzes, worried someone might find out. That boy who once thought he was strong now feels weak, losing his focus in salah, unable to lower his gaze, haunted by regret. This is how harem deceives. It begins with pleasure but ends in pain. Think about how short-lived this kind of love usually is. How many stories do we hear of young people falling head over heels in harem relationships, swearing they cannot live without each other, only for one of them to get bored, leave, and break the other's heart? How many sisters give away their dignity to someone who promised forever, only to be left crying when he disappears? How many brothers invest their emotions, time, and money into someone who later blocks them or chooses someone else? It is heartbreaking, yet it happens again and again. Why? Because anything that is not rooted in Allah's blessing is destined to collapse. The Prophet said, "Every flesh that is nourished from haram, the fire is more deserving of it." This is not just about food, it is about anything haram, including relationships. If the foundation is haram, the building will not stand. Contrast that with halal love. When two people wait, when they fight their desires, when they involve their families and ask Allah for barakah, their love may begin slower, but it lasts longer. Haram love is like a firework, bright, exciting, but gone in seconds, leaving only smoke. Halal love is like a steady flame. It may not explode with noise, but it warms, it comforts, and it endures. There is a story of a sister who once admitted, "I thought he was everything. I thought no one loved me like he did. But then he left, and I realized the only love that never left me was Allah's." Her words carry a lesson. Haram relationships often become a substitute for the emptiness inside. We run to a person thinking they will fill the void in our hearts, but that void can only be filled by Allah. When we ignore Him, we feel lost even in the arms of someone we thought we loved. You see, love itself is not the enemy. But haram love is love twisted by Shaitan. It pulls you away from salah, it distances you from your parents, it darkens your heart. And the scariest part? Sometimes it pulls you so deep that you start making excuses. You begin saying things like, "At least we are not doing zina, it's just chatting." Or, "We will get married eventually, so it's fine." But sin does not become halal because you plan to change it later. Imagine someone drinking alcohol and saying, "Don't worry, one day I'll stop." The fact that you intend to stop later does not make the drink halal now. The same is true for haram relationships. Allah, in His mercy, does not want us to suffer this cycle of false sweetness and bitter regret. That's why He gave us boundaries, not to restrict us, but to protect us. A father telling his child not to touch fire is not being cruel. He is saving his child from pain. Allah tells us to avoid zina and everything that leads to it, not to deprive us of love, but to give us something better, something pure, something lasting. If you find yourself in haram today, understand that it is not love that is wrong, but the way you are handling it. Step back and ask yourself, is this relationship bringing me closer to Allah or pulling me further away? Do I feel at peace or do I feel restless? Do I feel dignified or do I feel ashamed? These questions reveal the truth. Haram love deceives, It plays with your emotions, it drains your soul, and it leaves you weaker than before. Pure love, in the way of Allah, never deceives. It may test you, it may require patience, but in the end, it honors you, it uplifts you, and it leads you to Jannah. Pure love is not loud. It doesn't scream for attention on social media, it doesn't need to hide in the shadows, it doesn't thrive in secrecy. Pure love in Islam is quiet, dignified, and powerful. It is the kind of love that gives you peace instead of sleepless nights, clarity instead of confusion, dignity instead of shame. It is rooted not in desire alone, but in mercy, respect, and the blessing of Allah. The Quran says, "And He placed between you affection and mercy." Affection and mercy, two words that tell us what true love really is. It is not obsession. It is not lust. It is not temporary excitement. It is mercy, which means patience, forgiveness, sacrifice, and respect. When a man loves a woman in a pure way, he doesn't just want her body, he wants to honor her soul, to protect her dignity, to carry responsibility. And when a woman loves a man in a pure way, she doesn't just want his attention, she wants to support him, uplift him, and be his garment as he is hers. That is what Allah describes in the Quran. They are a garment for you and you are a garment for them. A garment covers, protects, beautifies, and warms. That is pure love. It protects you, not exposes you. Take a moment to imagine two different stories. In the first, a boy and girl are meeting in secret, hiding from parents, terrified of being caught. Every time they meet, their hearts are not only racing with excitement but also with guilt. They are building a house on sand, and one day a wave will wash it all away. In the second story, a young man lowers his gaze when he sees a sister he admires. He prays istikhara, seeks advice, and when he feels ready, he approaches her family with respect. He does not steal her heart in secret, he wins it with honor. Their journey begins with Allah's name, continues with His mercy, and grows with His blessing. Which story feels peaceful? Which one feels safe? Which one do you think will last? Pure love uplifts you instead of draining you. When love is halal, it makes you want to be better. It makes you wake up for Fajr, it makes you want to work hard, it makes you want to build a future. When love is haram, it makes you restless. You lose focus in salah, you waste hours on your phone, you live in fear of being exposed. Haram love weakens you, but pure love strengthens you. It's the difference between carrying a burden and being carried by it. The best example is the love of the Prophet and Khadija, R.A. Their love was not displayed for the world to gossip about, but it was strong enough to move mountains. When he came home shaken from the cave of Hira, it was Khadija who calmed him, covered him, and reassured him. She didn't just say, "I love you," she proved it with loyalty and support. And when she passed away, years later, the Prophet never stopped honoring her. He remembered her, spoke of her with tears in his eyes, and treated her friends with kindness out of respect for her. That is pure love. It doesn't fade when looks change, when youth disappears, when challenges arrive. It grows deeper because it is built on a man, on mercy, and on sacrifice. Some people think pure love is boring because it doesn't have the thrill of secrecy. But the truth is, that thrill is only the adrenaline of sin, and it always crashes into guilt. Pure love may feel slower, steadier, but it carries a sweetness that never turns bitter. Ask any couple married in halal love, and they will tell you, there is nothing sweeter than holding hands after nikah, nothing more beautiful than saying I love you when it is halal, nothing more fulfilling than building a family together in the light of Allah's mercy. The Prophet said, there is nothing like marriage, for two who love one another. He didn't say there is nothing like secret messages, or nothing like hidden meetings. He said marriage, because marriage protects, it purifies, it dignifies. Pure love is not about consuming someone, it's about completing them. It's about being two souls walking together toward Allah, carrying each other when one stumbles, reminding each other of Jannah when the dunya becomes heavy. So when you hear people say haram love is more exciting, remember this. Haram love burns fast but burns out faster. Pure love lasts. Haram love takes from you. Pure love gives to you. Haram love makes you feel cheap. Pure love makes you feel priceless. Haram love may make you smile today, but it makes you cry tomorrow. Pure love may require patience today, but it will make you smile forever. And at the end of it all, the love that is pure, blessed, and halal is the one that not only uplifts your heart in this dunya but reunites you in Jannah. Sometimes the biggest test of love is not in how deeply you feel, but in how sincerely you prove it. Anyone can say, I love you 1,000 times in secret, but the question is, will they honor you when it matters most? Will they respect you enough to stand in front of your family, to take your hand through nikah, to commit to you in a way that pleases Allah? This is where haram relationships are exposed, because true love is never ashamed of the light. True love does not hide in dark corners or behind lock screens. True love will not say, let's wait until later while stealing moments now. True love says, I will wait, I will honor you, I will make it halal. If someone truly loves you, they will not play with your dignity. They will not use you in secret only to discard you when it becomes inconvenient. They will not ask you to compromise your iman for the sake of their desires. Real love is protective, not selfish. It says, I want you in Jannah with me, not just in this dunya. If a person is pushing you towards sin, then they are pushing you away from Allah, and that can never be called love. The Prophet reminded us that none of you truly believes until he loves for his brother what he loves for himself. If that is the standard for general relationships, then how much more true must it be for the one you claim to love the most? If they truly loved you, they would love for you what they love for themselves, Jannah, not Jahannam. Think of a young woman who secretly meets a man, convinced that he is a soulmate. He tells her, one day I'll marry you, but for now, let's just keep this between us. Days turn into months, months into years, and she invests her heart, her emotions, her time. But when the moment of truth comes, he disappears. He marries someone else, or his family refuses, and suddenly she is left shattered, feeling betrayed and used. The promises he made were not love, they were excuses, empty words that evaporated when responsibility arrived. Compare this to another man who, the moment he realizes he loves a woman, guards his eyes, guards his tongue, and guards her dignity. He approaches her family, he seeks Allah's guidance, and he works patiently until he is ready to marry her. This man may not shower her with endless sweet words, but his actions prove everything. One was playing, the other was serious. One was selfish, the other was sincere. True love is a test of patience and sincerity. If you want to know whether someone truly loves you, look at what they are willing to sacrifice. Are they willing to sacrifice their desires for the sake of protecting your honor? Are they willing to sacrifice their ego to involve your family? Are they willing to sacrifice their impatience by waiting for nikah? Haram relationships demand nothing but indulgence. Pure relationships demand sacrifice. And sacrifice is proof of sincerity. Sometimes people confuse attachment with love. They say, I can't live without them, so this must be love. But that is not love, that is dependency. True love doesn't make you lose yourself, it makes you find yourself. It doesn't make you neglect Allah, it makes you run to Allah. It doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. And you can always test it. If a relationship is draining your iman, making you restless in salah, making you lie to your parents, making you feel ashamed of yourself, then it is not love, no matter how strong it feels. True love lifts you toward Allah, not drags you away from Him. Even the Prophet, in his wisdom, gave us a principle that applies here. He said, leave that which makes you doubt for that which does not make you doubt. Haram relationships are filled with doubt, fear, and guilt. Pure love in halal is filled with clarity, confidence, and peace. You never have to hide, you never have to lie, you never have to fear being exposed. That peace is the mark of sincerity. So, my brothers and sisters, do not confuse words with love. Do not confuse excitement with love. Do not confuse secrecy with love. Look at actions. Look at sincerity. Look at whether the person who claims to love you is willing to protect your dignity and your deen. If they truly love you, they will take your hand to the doors of nikah, not the traps of haram. If they truly love you, they will lead you to Jannah, not towards sin. And if they are not willing to do that, then no matter how sweet their words sound, it is not love, it is just a distraction, a test, and perhaps a trap. Real love is proven, not proclaimed. It is protected, not hidden. It is honored, not played with. And the greatest sign of sincerity is when someone says, I love you enough to wait. I love you enough to do this the right way. I love you enough to want Jannah with you. That is when you know it is love worth keeping, love worth fighting for, and love that will never betray you because it stands in the light of Allah's blessing. When people speak of love, they often imagine flowers, poetry, stolen glances, and whispered words. But the greatest example of love in Islam is not built on theatrics. It is built on loyalty, sacrifice, and faith. Look at the Prophet Muhammad and Khadija, R.A. Their love was not displayed on public stages or hidden in secret shadows. It was pure, dignified, and rooted in the mercy of Allah. From the moment Khadija accepted his proposal, she did not just marry a man, she married his mission, his struggles, his dreams. And when revelation came to him in the cave of Hira, and he returned trembling, uncertain of what had just happened, it was her embrace that calmed him. It was her words that reassured him. By Allah, Allah will never disgrace you. You uphold the ties of kinship, you speak the truth, you bear the burdens of the weak, you honor the guest, and you assist in all good causes. She believed in him before the world believed. That was love. Their love teaches us that pure love uplifts rather than consumes. It was not just about emotions, though the emotions were there. It was about support, trust, and partnership. How many relationships today collapse because they are built on shallow attractions with no depth, no sacrifice, no foundation? Haram relationships rarely survive trials. The moment hardship comes, the sweetness disappears. But pure love, when rooted in Allah, does not fade when challenges arise, it becomes stronger. When the Prophet was rejected by his people, mocked, insulted, and humiliated, he came home to a wife who wrapped him in comfort. She was not embarrassed to stand by him, she was honored. And long after her death, he continued to honor her memory. He would slaughter animals and send portions to her friends, he would speak about her with tears, and he once said, "She believed in me when the people disbelieved. She trusted me when the people called me a liar. She shared her wealth with me when the people deprived me." This was not infatuation, it was love anchored in respect, loyalty, and gratitude. Contrast this with what many call love today. A boy tells a girl, "You're my world, I can't live without you." Yet the moment temptation increases or family pressures come, he lets her go. A girl says to a boy, "You're my forever," but when her friends mock the relationship, she distances herself. What they call love is fragile because it is built on ego and desire. The love of the Prophet and Khadija, R.A., was unshakable because it was built on Iman. There is a deep lesson here. Pure love is not just about how you make each other feel in the good times, it is about how you stand for each other in the hard times. Khadija did not only share her wealth to support the Prophet when he was mocked, she shared her heart, her courage, and her unwavering belief. That is what made their bond unbreakable. And this is why pure love in Islam is so powerful. It is not selfish. It is not temporary. It is not a game. It is a partnership for dunya and akhirah. Even later, when the Prophet married others after her passing, none replaced the place she held in his heart. Aisha, R.A., once admitted her jealousy, saying, "I never felt more jealous of a woman than of Khadija, though I never saw her, because the Prophet mentioned her so often." This is the kind of love that lasts beyond life itself, because it was rooted in sincerity and blessed by Allah. Now compare this to haram relationships. They often start with excitement, but where is the loyalty? Where is the patience? Where is the sacrifice? When tested, they crumble. When exposed, they collapse. When regret sets in, they fade into painful memories. Haram love dies quickly because it has no anchor in Allah. Pure love, like that of the Prophet and Khadija, R.A., endures because it is built on faith, trust, and sacrifice. Pure love is not about what you take, it is about what you give. Haram love asks, "What can you give me right now?" Pure love asks, "What can I give you for the sake of Allah, now and forever?" Haram love is obsessed with temporary pleasure. Pure love is invested in eternal reward. Haram love makes you weaker. Pure love makes you stronger together. So the next time someone tells you that haram relationships are real love, remember the example of our Prophet and Khadija, R.A. Remember that true love is patient, protective, and pure. Remember that the love blessed by Allah is the love that lifts you, not the one that drags you into guilt. Remember that the love you deserve is the love that will not only walk with you in this dunya but will wait for you at the gates of Jannah. ChatGPT said, "Imagine a young man who spent years chasing a girl in secret, believing it was love. He would sneak around, lie to his parents, and hide his chats from everyone. He thought he had found happiness, but every night when he laid down, he felt guilt clawing at his chest. He worried about getting caught, about what would happen if her family found out, about whether Allah was angry with him. And eventually, when the relationship ended, as haram relationships often do, he was left with nothing but regret. The memories that once gave him a thrill now felt like poison, and he wished with all his heart that he had waited, that he had done it the right way. This is the reality of haram love. It promises sweetness but delivers bitterness. It paints pictures of joy but leaves you with scars. Now imagine another scenario. A young couple, both serious about their faith, choose to keep their distance until the time is right. They lower their gaze, they guard their hearts, and they make dua that Allah blesses them with each other if it is good for them. When the right time comes, they involve their families, they choose the halal path, and their union begins with the name of Allah. On their wedding day, as they look at one another, they do so with peace in their hearts because they know they did not displease their Creator to reach this point. Their love is not haunted by secrets, their intimacy is not stained with guilt, and their bond begins with the blessing of Allah's mercy. This is the difference between haram love and pure love in Islam. It is not just about the present moment, it is about how you will feel when you look back on it. Haram love makes you ashamed of your past. Pure love makes you grateful for your journey. The Prophet Muhammad told us, "You will never give up something for the sake of Allah, but Allah will replace it with something better." Think about that. Every time you resist the temptation to fall into a haram relationship, every time you delete a message, avoid an inappropriate chat, or walk away from something that your nafs is pulling you towards, Allah is promising you something better. And what Allah gives is always better, always purer, always lasting. The world might tell you that you are missing out, that you are being too strict, that everyone else is doing it. But what they don't tell you is the sleepless nights, the heartbreaks, the fear of being exposed, and the emptiness that comes when a haram relationship falls apart. They don't tell you that real strength is not giving in, but holding back for the sake of Allah. Think of Yusuf, as one of the most powerful examples of resisting haram love. When temptation came to him in the most intense way, alone, desired, with the door locked, he chose Allah. He said, "I seek refuge in Allah." He was thrown into prison because of it, yet he remained dignified, honored, and beloved by Allah. His story is a reminder that purity and patience are always rewarded. Haram might give you moments of pleasure, but patience gives you a lifetime of honor. How many young people today confuse attraction with love? A girl receives a message saying, "You are my everything," and she thinks it is pure. But what happens when her looks fade, or when another girl catches his eye? That love quickly dissolves because it was never love. It was desire disguised as affection. Pure love in Islam is not based on appearances or fleeting emotions. It is based on respect, trust, and a shared vision of building a life together that pleases Allah. When a man marries a woman, not for her beauty or wealth alone, but for her deen, the Prophet promised that such a marriage will be blessed. That is pure love. It is choosing someone who will help you become closer to Jannah, not someone who drags you closer to Jahannam. And there is something powerful about knowing that the love you are waiting for will never have to hide. You will not have to delete messages, sneak around, or make excuses. You will not live in fear of being exposed or abandoned. Instead, you will walk in the open, hand in hand, knowing that your bond was blessed by Allah from the start. That is the kind of love that fills the heart with peace instead of anxiety. That is the kind of love that lasts not just for a season but for a lifetime, and if Allah wills, for eternity in Jannah. So, when the temptation of haram relationships whispers to your heart, remind yourself of the promise of Allah. Remind yourself of Yusuf, as, who chose prison over sin, of Khadija, who stood as the pillar of loyalty, of the Prophet who showed us what pure love looks like. And remind yourself that haram love will always leave you empty, while pure love will always leave you full. One drags you down in regret, the other lifts you up in faith. One steals your time, your peace, and your dignity, while the other multiplies your blessings, your joy, and your honor. The choice is always yours, but the consequences are eternal. My brothers and sisters, life is too short to waste it chasing illusions. Haram love promises happiness but delivers heartbreak. Haram love looks sweet but turns bitter. Haram love gives you a moment but steals your peace for years. Pure love, on the other hand, may demand patience, but it rewards you with dignity. Pure love may ask you to wait, but it blesses you with barakah. Pure love may test your strength, but it leaves you with honor in this world and reward in the next. Ask yourself this: when you stand before Allah on the Day of Judgment, will you be proud of the love you chose? Or will you be ashamed of it? Will it testify for you, or will it testify against you? Don't let your emotions blind you. Don't let temporary feelings destroy eternal happiness. Don't sell your Jannah for a few stolen moments of dunya. Choose purity. Choose dignity. Choose Allah. And remember this: Haram love fades, but halal love lasts. Haram love hides in the shadows, but halal love shines in the light. Haram love may excite your heart for a while, but halal love gives peace to your soul forever. So today, make a decision. Not tomorrow. Not next week. Today. Walk away from what displeases Allah, and walk toward what earns His mercy. Because the greatest love story is not the one that begins in secret messages. It's the one that begins with Bismillah.